Who is this guy? What does he have a right to say anything about this? Well, I'm glad you asked. What is up, all forms of social media? James Joseph Edward Jesberger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short. This is a video to answer all those comments that I've been getting on like a lot of my reaction content, but just on anything really. This video, if you did not know by the title already, probably going to name it something along the lines of like experience in the arts or something along those lines. This is just a rundown of like everything I've possibly done that I could think of for a document in my acting career, my music career, my singing career, my performing career, and my work career. If you just want the long story short real quick, my name is James Joseph Edward Jesberger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short. I have been acting since I was in kindergarten. I started playing drums and music in 2007. I did as many activities as I could throughout high school and college. I went to college for my BFA in acting and minor in music, and ever since I graduated from my college, I have been working professionally in some kind of capacity in the arts, no matter where it may be. That is the long story short. I'm not going to tell every story today under all these lists of things, but to those people who care, or to those people who wanted to know a little bit more about me, this is kind of like a Q&A where I kind of get to list off and humble brag for a little bit. So sit back, relax, let's jump straight into this. I'm so excited. This is my experience in the arts since I was technically born. The first thing we have to talk about is grade school. In grade school, I had this thing called summer stock. I don't know if that's everywhere. I know it's in the United States. I don't know if it's everywhere outside of the United States too. Summer stock is essentially you performing your grade school shows or your musicals during the summer instead of them having the school year. Some schools don't, unfortunately, have somebody to be their acting teacher or music teacher that wants to prep that stuff and make it like a school year thing. So there were a bunch of parents and directors and stuff like that who wanted to form the summer stock at my grade school, and we performed the shows during the summer. My first ever show in summer stock musicals and my first ever part at the same time, I was in kindergarten. I was in The Wizard of Oz, and I was the mayor of the Munchkin City. Yeah, I had to wear a pillow in my shirt. First grade, Beauty and the Beast, I was LeFou. And then I took a little bit of a break. I don't know what was going on. I think I just was going through a lot of like emotional things and didn't want to be on stage. But in 5th grade, I was in The Sound of Music. I was Friedrich. In 6th grade, in The Lion King, I was Pumbaa. In 7th grade, I was in Bye Bye Birdie. I was Mr. McAfee, the father. I formed my first band with my friends where I became the drummer and took lessons in 2007. Also in 2007, I started my first YouTube channel in 2007 after some drum lessons. So that's how long, there's going to be a different video for that, but that's how long I've been technically doing YouTube. It's been a long time. That's a whole other story. In 8th grade, there was this weird time where like we had a new music teacher come in and they wanted us to perform during the school year. So I technically had 2 shows in 8th grade. So I'm going to give both. During this Catholic school year, I was the lion in The Wizard of Oz, which is ironic. I was first and last show kind of thing. And then in 8th grade, for our summer stock show for Footloose, I was in Footloose. I was Reverend Moore, the father of the show. You're seeing a pattern, right? Pumbaa, Reverend Moore, Mr. McAfee. Then I went off to high school. In high school, I was in all the clubs and activities that had to do with music, acting, the arts, etc. I was in marching band, concert band, choir, musicals. So every year at my high school, we had 2 shows a year. My first show ever in high school was High School Musical 1. Not too happy about that one. But for that show and for a show called Hello Dolly, I was ensemble. For my summer going into my sophomore year, I did this acting camp, which is called YPTC, the Young Performers Theater Camp. And we would perform shows, go to workshops. It was a lot of fun. I only did it for 1 year, though, and we did Pirates of Penzance. I was also in ensemble. My second year of high school, we did High School Musical 2 because we had the same budget and the same props as last show, so why not just do that show? And I was in Back to the 80s. I was also ensemble. Then my junior year of high school, I was in Annie. I was FDR. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. For those who don't know, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. And high school, for my second show was Hairspray for junior year. I was Mr. Spritzer, and I was the understudies for Edna and Wilbur. That's another story in itself. For my last year of high school, for my shows, I did Christmas Carol, and I was Jacob Marley. And for my for my last show, where I did all the shows, I got my roses and my accolades and all that. We did Footloose, which was ironic because for 8th grade, I was also in Footloose. I was the gym coach. And a cowboy, I forget his freaking name, that sings that one song in the show. I was not happy about that. That's another story. Throughout grade school to freshman year of college, I was in rock bands and even had a rock group that wrote an EP and was on the radio and TV. I was very proud and happy about that. I was actually the drummer, a backup singer, and a screamer, if whoever needed screaming. If you can find that stuff online, I'd be very impressed. Then going into my junior year, going into my senior year of high school, I auditioned for Arcadia, where I got into their acting program, and I auditioned with Bye Bye Birdie's monologue from Bye Bye Birdie. It was the Mr. McAfee monologue. College, I did basically every music and acting and the arts theater thing I could do because I went to school for my BFA in acting and actually got a scholarship for it. The clubs and activities I was in for college and I didn't do everything every year. I did most things every year, but not everything every year. I did university choir, chamber choir, a cappella, cabaret, and I was a commuter assistant / head of resident in commuter life. I was a gateway mentor, and I was in Puerto Rico for 1 year for dancing, for Latin dancing. I worked my first job at a Sears, and that's an interesting story. A lot of stuff happened. That was my technical first real corporate or like sales job, I guess you would say. I was only there for 2 weeks, though, for interesting reasons. Then when I got to my senior year of college, I eventually went to the KCACTFs, which is the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival. Try and say that in one mouthful. It's a lot. I auditioned there and got into Tecumseh's The Outdoor Drama. And I also auditioned for a bunch of other things that I got, but I eventually decided to go to Tecumseh. I taught senior citizen Shakespeare and middle schoolers that laughing matters through comedy. My senior year show and my only show at Arcadia, another weird long story, was a show called Midway. It was an original production actually put on by one of the professors at school who hired a director to come in. There was always a director who directed the shows for us. And I was a part of Mr. Cracklepants, who is the stereotypical me voice type. I performed my senior thesis and it was a cabaret. Not happy about that one. If that video ever comes out, we'll react to it later. Then, thankfully, after I graduated from Arcadia in 2016, since 2011, I had been singing, playing instruments in churches, and I continue to do so up until this is my last year, 2022. My last Mass was in August, and that is my ending chapter for music ministry, and I decided to just move on to other things and to continue what I want to do. While I was at Arcadia, I did work study in the theater, and I was also one of the first Arcadian Knights. I was a mascot, so that was my first mascotting job. Always wanted to mascot. It was my first time ever mascotting. I auditioned for the Greater Philadelphia auditions and got called back for a number of stuff, but I decided to go out and live in Ohio in Tecumseh's Outdoor Drama. I received the Dr. William Fabrizioso Award for Excellence in Music. Every year somebody gets that. It's the same thing as like, you win this for English, you win this for theater, you win this for X, Y, and Z. I won it for music because my college unfortunately didn't have like a big music program, but we did have an excellence in music, which was great as I minored in it and did a lot in the music department. I decided to go out to Ohio, and I lived there for 3 to 4 months in Ohio for Tecumseh's Outdoor Drama, which was a big experience. I got to like fight with fire and ride horses. I took horse lessons. There was so much stuff. I got to fire rifles for the show. It was all outdoor drama. It was amazing. I came back from living out in Ohio, worked for the Valley of Fear, one of the haunted attractions that I worked at. I've actually worked professionally at a few haunted attractions for a few years, where even one of my characters was on Q102 radio. I got to perform as one of my characters on radio. That was pretty sick. I actually still have the recording of it too. And then probably one of the weirdest things, I auditioned and got into Jurassic Park Universal Pictures and I was one of their blue mascots who got to work at the Franklin Institute and run around and be a dinosaur and perform, which was a lot of fun. I was actually a dinosaur. Like, as a kid, I wanted to be a dinosaur, and I always became a dinosaur, which was so funny. Then my memory gets kind of fuzzy from 2016 to 2019 because so much stuff had happened during those times, and I was 20 something, and it's just weird times for everybody. But to list some things off and see if I remember when I list these things off, I want to see if anything jogs my memory, but I'm going to be listing off some more things. I was in a bunch of radio plays. I played like a Philly actor. I played announcers. I played all these different roles for radio plays and theater. I performed original playwrights plays in the Philadelphia theater community. There's a whole bunch of playwrights out here who I got to perform their shows out in Philly, which was amazing. I worked an office job that I could have made work, but it did not spark true joy, and I wanted to do as much as I could in the arts, and that's why I continue to do what I want to do and have fun with it. And that's what anything you want to do, please pursue it. Please go what you want to go for. I worked at other haunted attractions throughout these years. I worked in a bunch of murder mystery theaters with different companies. I was a casting director and an artistic director for a different theater company. I performed in an original show where I got to flesh out more of the character I played. I worked tons of professional mascotting jobs. I can't talk about them because of NDA laws, contracts, and such, but I've worked with pro mascots, and I'm truly grateful and proud. The ones I can talk about are Wally and Shorty from Wawa, because of many years of passing through that and working for different companies. I was Bubby the Bison at the Elmore Park Zoo, and I was actually Soul Man for the Philadelphia Soul. I still continue to mascot. Unfortunately, can't talk about the other ones. I taught pre-K through 8th music at a grade school and conducted their church choir. I worked in the music ministry since 2011 and just stopped this year, as I said earlier. I worked for a ton of companies being a private music and acting teacher. I music directed The Addams Family for a college, and I'm actually about to music direct Legally Blonde at the same college. Off and on YouTube since 2007, but that's another long story for another time. I've always come back to performing in the arts no matter what, is the last kind of sentence I wanted to say. And the last thing I wanted to definitely say for this video was, I probably forgot a lot, but that's what I could remember for this video. I say this not as a bragging video. I say this as I feel like anybody can do anything they want to do. And a lot of this stuff, in a weird way, I feel like I wasn't truly being myself the whole time, or like I wasn't really as forward as I could have been. Like, I wasn't as confident, I wasn't as who I am, and knowing who I am more as an adult and more as a mature person now, I feel like now anything that I truly want to go out for, I can truly accept and go for it 1,000%. And that's what I want to leave this video really with. Yes, it is a thing of a bunch of people commenting on my videos saying, who the fuck is this guy and why is he commenting on this music? It's because I've been around it for so long, and not a lot of people have been through a lot of the stuff that I've been through. People would joke so many years. My family made the same jokes too. Jimmy has done more in 1 year than some people have done in their lifetimes. And I don't necessarily like that joke for an exact, but I enjoy it enough that I could be like, man, it is kind of true. Like, I've done a lot in my lifetime. I say this all so that people can learn from what I've experienced and truly go for the things that they want to do and live their lives the way they want to. But as always, my name is James Joseph Edward Jesberger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short. If you like this video, please like, share, comment, subscribe, follow all my social medias. And if you want story times, which there's plenty of fucking story times from these videos, please let me know which ones you'd like to know about in the comments and such like that. But as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.